Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we had a ton of nice comments telling us that you enjoyed the playoff running back video. So we're going to go through. I'm going to give you the top 10 teams with the playoff schedules for their wide receivers. Maybe you're going to want to go through and trade for someone named, I don't know, Amari Cooper by the end of this. But before we get into it, go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, and for the love of God, go take advantage of this. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up and make your first deposit with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get access to this special Derrick Henry line here. Over under half a rushing yard. So go deposit $10 on Underdog with promo code FLOCK with the link in the comment section. Immediately have $20 in your account. Go bet to 20 on the Derrick Henry over half a rushing yard. It's available in damn near every state. However, the Derrick Henry line is only available for people who use promo code FLOCK. And that should be it. Let's go through. Let's dive into our 10th team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the Bucs, I mean, it's okay. Obviously, these schedules are going to get better going forward. They're going up against Cincinnati, which does have a good pass defense. Obviously, you have some defensive backs injured right now for Cincinnati, but they should be a much better unit as they were at the beginning portion of this season. By the time we get back to the end of the year, they've had a top 5 defense against fantasy wide receivers so far this year. And then they're going up against Arizona, middle of the road. I think that Arizona game, especially when we have Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore all healthy, honestly, it's probably going to be looking like a shootout. And then for the fantasy football playoff championship, they're going up against the Carolina Panthers, who have been a bottom 10. I repeat, a bottom 10 defense against the wide receiver position so far this year. And if we're projecting out here, I know that everybody wants to say, well, Mason, Tom Brady's done. Mason, Tom Brady doesn't look good. Maybe you don't like Tom Brady from a real life standpoint, yada, yada, yada. Who cares? Tom Brady's out there. He's putting up passing statistics, second in the NFL in passing yards right now. If I was Tom Brady, my number one primary objective, if you can't win a Super Bowl, is let's go through, let's throw as many passing yards, as many passing touchdowns as I possibly can to make sure nobody catches up to us on these all-time leaderboards, which I don't know if anybody would ever be able to regardless. But I think that Godwin is still that very appealing buy low, guys, we've been talking about for a while now. Now going over to our next one, we have the Dallas Cowboys here, who are going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars at first. They have been a middle-of-the-road defense in terms of defending opposing wide receivers. Then after that, they have Philadelphia. Not a good matchup. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles have an above-average defense. Recording this right now before the Houston Texans game, and I know the Philadelphia Eagles are probably about to shut out Houston. Literally have a 24-point win here, something obnoxious. So this isn't going to look like a good call. But for that championship matchup, they have the Tennessee Titans, who are the second worst defense against opposing wide receivers so far this year. And Philadelphia actually has given up some fantasy points to wide receivers just because we know Philly's going to be a team that goes through and scores a ton of points. So you're not going to be able to be in the position where you're running the ball against the Philadelphia Eagles in the second half. Teams like the Dallas Cowboys will be having to air it out, and you kind of want that from Dallas, who obviously has the elite level defense. But now going over to our next team, the New Orleans Saints. Thank God I recorded this and waited until after we had the Michael Thomas news. If we look at Michael Thomas now being out for the season, and the fact that they're going up against Atlanta, Cleveland, and Philadelphia. Philadelphia above average defense. We've already discussed that. But Atlanta, the worst defense in the NFL so far this season against opposing wide receivers. Cleveland has been middle of the road as well. I think with the New Orleans Saints, wheels up for Chris Olave. I was an idiot saying to go through and see if we could sell Chris Olave high last week, coming off some very incredible performances. I was a little worried about getting Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry back in. Then all of a sudden, you had Thomas, Jarvis, Kamara, Taysom, all there fighting for touches in this offense. But nope, Michael Thomas out for the year. Jarvis Landry still injured. I think that Chris Olave is a smash wide receiver, low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2 rest of the year. But now going over to our next guy, I guess maybe nobody, the Denver Broncos. I mean, y'all know we spent the entire offseason talking about how damn bad Courtland Sutton is. But, oh my gosh, if Sutton comes out and has a good playoff stretch, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Going up against Arizona, we know Arizona can't put points up on the board. Arizona's right now been middle of the road in allowing opposing wide receivers to score. Then the Los Angeles Rams, who have been a borderline bottom 10 defense. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, who've been a bottom 5 defense. And of course, that is in terms of allowing wide receivers to put up fantasy points. If you're looking at Denver, I mean, it is disgusting. I don't need to talk down on Courtland Sutton. We've done it for God knows how long now. Regarding Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver we said was going to be the wide receiver 1 in Denver, obviously he's getting a small bump up in value after the London game. But at the same time, I don't want to come out here and go, oh, look at me, I was right. Yay. Jerry Jeudy's the wide receiver 1 in Denver. Who cares? Russell Wilson looks like garbage. I don't think either wide receiver is that great. If you wanted someone and you really like this matchup, maybe you could go for Jeudy, but I'm still a little bit worried in general. Now going over to our next one, the Las Vegas Raiders. Tough matchup against New England, who are the 9th defense or the 9th best defense in limiting wide receiver points so far this year. But then they have Pittsburgh, who have been the 3rd worst. Then they have the 49ers, who have been below average as well. So, I mean, specifically, you have a good semifinals as well as finals matchup here for Davante Adams. Maybe you sneak Darren Waller in here because obviously Darren Waller looks a little bit more like a receiver than he actually does a tight end. I think we can all safely say Hunter Renfro's nothing at this point. He's worth a roster spot, but not much more. But Davante Adams, still very clear buy low candidate. I think that the flu game has allowed you to get this small of a buy low window on Davante Adams. I think he comes back out this week and has double-digit targets, and that window is going to be shutting. Now, going over to our next one, we have the Atlanta Falcons. This is where the matchups start to get juicy. At 5, Atlanta gets to go up against the New Orleans Saints, the Baltimore Ravens, the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, both of whom have been a bottom 10 defense in allowing wide receivers to score points. And they're 5th and 6th, pretty damn good. They have Arizona, who's been middle of the road as well. As we've said, I actually kind of like attacking Arizona here just a bit, knowing that Arizona's in a spot where they will have all their weapons. They will be able to put points up on the board, and I think those games could potentially be shootouts. Now, regarding the Atlanta Falcons, it all comes down to Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I mean, I think they have all the talent in the world. Obviously, it's very difficult to know what the passing volume is going to be like. Maybe, just maybe, Desmond Ridder can come in here and save the day. I don't know. Mariota's been going out there and in some games completing 8 to 9 pass attempts. I think maybe this means, don't cut Drake London. Drake London, someone that's an elite level prospect, probably going to continue to get better his rookie season. And if you have this very good stretch in the final 3 weeks, maybe he'll be startable. Hopefully he'll be startable. But now going over to our next guy, I guess it's Allen Lazard / Romeo Doubs. The Green Bay Packers have a good little stretch here. They're going up against the Rams and the Dolphins, both bottom 10 in allowing wide receivers to score fantasy points. Then they're going up against Minnesota, who have been middle of the road. No bad matchups here for these two guys. Now, what I'm a little bit worried about regarding Romeo Doubs, I mean, someone that we called a must-start smash receiver against the Buffalo Bills a little while back, is once we begin getting more wide receivers into this offense, how is he going to be able to maintain this target share? I'm worried that if we have Lazard, Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins, and Romeo Doubs all good to go, it's going to be very difficult to figure out exactly what guy that we want. Maybe if you're drafting some best ball teams on Underdog, this could be a spot where you're excited about it. Maybe if you're in a deeper 14-team league and go, I can get Allen Lazard at a discount right now. That sounds like a good idea. Go for it. I think Romeo Doubs will be someone that's very difficult to buy right now after a very impressive performance against the Buffalo Bills with no Allen Lazard on Monday night. But now going over to our next guy, DJ Moore, going up against Pittsburgh, the third worst defense, then Detroit, who obviously a below average unit, and then Tampa, who's been middle of the road. No bad matchups, arguably only good matchups for wide receivers here. Now, honestly, I don't think DJ Moore is going to be the guy that we're wanting to buy either, and I know we keep on kicking the can down the road here. The issue with DJ Moore is at least not buying him right now because the Carolina Panthers are coming off of a performance where they drop 30 plus points Over the past 2 weeks, they've been averaging damn near 30 points. Now, I know maybe the situation got a little bit better when you get Baker Mayfield out of here, when you get Matt Rule out of here. But in reality, can you confidently project PJ Walker to be scoring 30 points a game for the Carolina Panthers going forward? I would make the argument no. So with DJ Moore, I really liked him coming into the season. Maybe this means some of our Best Ball Mania teams aren't dead on underdog that have DJ Moore, where we drafted him a little bit too much. I still think that this could potentially be one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense in the NFL. Good matchups the final 3 weeks. If you were wanting to go out there and trade for DJ Moore, you cannot do it right now. His value is way too high. You'd have to wait until we have some down performances from Carolina and then maybe buy a few weeks from now. But now going over to our next team, the Baltimore Ravens. Dear God, they get the Cleveland Browns, middle of the road. But after that, the Atlanta Falcons, the worst, I repeat, the worst defense against wide receivers in fantasy football. Then they get Pittsburgh, the third worst. Oh my gosh, these are juicy matchups. But Rashad Bateman out for the year here. Rashad Bateman out for the season, so you are now in a position where if you wanted to go out there and buy someone, the guy you're getting is Devin Duvernay. What I am personally hoping is Odell comes here. Like, dear God, if I was Baltimore, if I was Lamar Jackson, every single day I'd wake up, send a prayer, and then pull out my little phone, pull up Instagram. I don't know what NFL players message each other on. Go, hey, Odell, just let you know, I have a real good sandwich shop in Baltimore. I can't wait for you to try. Hey, Odell, we have karaoke at my place on Thursday night. Hope to see you there. I would be nonstop messaging Odell Beckham Jr. I think this is a key landing spot for someone like Odell, Will Fuller, pretty much anybody out in the streets right now plays the wide receiver position that has some upside. It would have been beautiful if the Ravens decided to trade for Brandon Cooks. Maybe Devin Duvernay can be a top 24 wide receiver if they don't bring someone in and you have this great schedule. But the number one guy, the guy that's literally winning fantasy football leagues this year, Amari Cooper. Amari plays the Ravens, the 6th worst. The Saints, the 5th worst. And then Washington, the 7th worst. 3 top 10 matchups for wide receivers here. Not only does Amari Cooper get the schedule, but at the same time, he gets 2 home games out of the 3. I know people like to look at the home away splits for Amari Cooper, but most importantly, not only is the schedule phenomenal, not only is he playing at home, he gets elite level quarterback play coming in with Deshaun Watson. If you look at the historical adjusted yards per attempt for Deshaun Watson, his career average, and compare that to adjusted yards per attempt for quarterbacks last season in the NFL, he would have been a top 3 guy. His career average. There's a reason the Browns traded 3 first-round picks to get him, his suspension, and all his baggage. And then with all that attached to him, give him the most guaranteed money in NFL history. He's a very talented quarterback. So many things working in favor of Amari Cooper here. We've called him a buy low guy in a ton of videos this year. I mean, I think that this is the number one spot. I mean, really this entire video to go through and look at all these matchups, say, okay, well, no stud wide receivers have a phenomenal schedule for the fantasy football playoffs. I think we should probably go through and treat Amari Cooper right now as if he's that high-end wide receiver 2 in the range of wide receiver maybe 12 to 15, even if he's not scoring that at this moment, because later in the year, he could be above it. But I think that's all I got for you. Of course, thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you have not done so yet, go down there, drop that like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, and go take advantage of this Derrick Henry player prop. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you can check out all these props, but most importantly, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200, and only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get that Derrick Henry line. You can find the link in the comment section, find it in the description, deposit $10, $20 in your account immediately. Go bet the 20 on more than half a rushing yard for Derrick Henry. I think that's it. I hope you have a great day, and I hope we get to see you in the live stream tonight.